Well, we have to wait and see after the session where they exactly are.
Any idea on the timescale for Alisson, just how serious the hamstring injury is?
Yeah, that depends also on how fast a recovery goes. So it's clear that he's not. Saturday, it's clear that he's not going to play for Brazil, and I would be surprised if he would be there in the first game after the international break. But from there on, sometimes things can go a bit faster or a bit slower. So it's always difficult to say the amount of days and weeks. But for the upcoming games, he will not be part of us or the Brazil team.
I suppose what it does mean, though, as well, is it gives Mamadashvili an opportunity and the potential this weekend for his Premier League debut. Just tell us what kind of an impression he's made on you, what kind of a level you see him at.
I think we've seen against Southampton how well he's adjusted. We knew that we were bringing in a very good goalkeeper, but when he plays his first game, that's always the best way of seeing that he's adjusted well or not. And I think we've seen in that game that he's adjusted really well to our club, which is not a surprise because he's a quality goalkeeper, and now he can do what Cruyff had to do so many times in the past, replacing Alisson, hopefully in a way like Cruyff did so many times before.
Just with Ali, is there a concern again that it's a hamstring?
Why?
Because it just seems to be a similar kind of injury, is it? Or is it a similar kind of injury to the ones that he suffered last season?
I'm not how do you say this? I'm not a doctor, so I cannot tell you if it's every time the same or whatever. What I'm mainly interested in is, can he play in the weekend and how long is it going to take? And I think there are other people in the club that can give you a better answer to your question than I can.
Obviously, results of the past week had not been the norm during your time here. In that respect, then, what reaction have you seen from your players, and what kind of a job have you had to do to pick them up ahead of this game against Chelsea now?
Nah, if the reaction is after you lose against Palace, you lose another game, you can argue if that is positive. But I saw a team that wanted to try from the first to the last second everything to get a result. Different than to the Palace game, we won much more second balls. We were like in the Palace game close to a result, and I've said many times last season the margins are so small, and that's the same this season again. And we are trying to find a way of that is not about luck or bad luck, or it's not about a set piece goal scored or against. That we are just better than that. It doesn't matter if Ekitike goes one-on-one to the goalkeeper. He gets twice or three times a pull on his shoulder, but he does everything to stay on his feet, like our players mainly do. And 1 minute later, in the other 18-yard box, a player feels this, goes to the ground as if it was the worst hit he ever had. And the referee gives a penalty. Again, this can happen, and we should be better than that. That it doesn't matter if you are luck, bad luck, or smart or not smart. If you score a set piece goal or you concede two, like against Palace. By the way, if we would have had the referee that we had against Galatasaray, we wouldn't have lost against Palace, because this one blew his whistle exactly after 8 minutes. But again, that has nothing to do with the current results. We need to do better. And that's why we are what we're going to try.
Thank you.
Hi, Arne. Alexander has had 5 appearances now, so I'm just wondering how you feel he's settling in here at Liverpool.
Yeah, I said to him when he started, the difficult thing will be you will have your appearances, like you just said, but if you add the minutes together, he probably only had 2 or 3 90-minute games. But yeah, that is what we inherited from the situation of him not being with the team in Newcastle. And we knew this before, so it's not an excuse. He already scored a goal. He gets fitter and fitter, but the main thing, he needs to adjust to his teammates, and the teammates need to adjust to him. And the more you play together, the better things will work. There was a great moment, not great because it didn't end up the way I wanted, but he had a great counter movement in the Palace game. Where in the end the midfielder didn't see that, and he already played the ball to the right. If he would have seen it, he would have been one-on-one to the goalkeeper. So these are the things you get if you play more together. And playing more together has been a bit harder than last season because of Alexander Isak, because of McAllister, because of Conor Bradley. That Dominic Szoboszlai has played on 8, on 10, on right fullback for the reasons I just said. And but we cannot. We are, in my opinion, too focused on this season. But the second part of last season had a lot of similarities with the start of this season. With one exception, is that the second part of last season we scored 7 set-piece goals, which led to a lot of wins. And this season we've conceded 4, I think. So we play tomorrow Chelsea. I think they've scored more than 50% of their goals from set pieces. So this is the new reality in the Premier League, and we were doing this really well the second part of last season. And this season we have had many good chances from set pieces as well. Unfortunately, didn't score yet.
So does that mean you've got to work harder at them now, or is it just luck?
What I just said, we've been very close to scoring set pieces this season already. Ibu, a big chance against Galatasaray and a big chance against Palace. So I'm very happy about the amount of chances we generate from set pieces, but we haven't scored yet. And yeah, is that luck, bad luck? At this moment of time, I would say we are a bit unlucky. If this just keeps on going throughout the whole season, it might have to do with other things as well. But what I'm trying to say is open play goals, second part of last season and the first part of last season is a main difference. And I don't think we do things different. I do see teams doing a lot of things different to us. So the first part of last season, Jürgen gave me a lot of gifts, but one of the gifts he also gave me was ending up 3rd the year before and 5th that year before. And him being so well known that a new manager came in and everybody thought, oh, let's start to play against Liverpool. And teams played in a completely different way in the first half of the season against us than they did when we were top of the league after the half of the season and when we were top of the Champions League after the first part of the season. And I can see this going now into the second half in this part of this season. And we have to find answers to that. And last season, one of the answers was a set piece. Like many teams, unlock low blocks with set pieces. And this season, we haven't done that yet.
When we think about Chelsea and Liverpool, it's been sloppy the last couple of weeks. Aaron, how much of a factor is that going to be in this matchup?
Yeah, both of these teams, Chelsea and Liverpool, look disjointed, discombobulated. They look like they're not really on the same page with each other, with the manager. They're in a difficult period, and this match is massive for both of them.
Who needs the points more?
I wrestled over this. I stayed up late last night. I tossed and turned. I was like, who really needs the points more? I was like, is it Liverpool? But they're sitting top of the table. Yes, they've had a couple bad results. They're still top of the table. They'll be fine. If Chelsea loses this one, Enzo Maresca probably gets sacked. They probably sell 4 or 5 players. They probably buy 6 players. Everything kind of changes around. I think, for me, Chelsea needs the points more. For
Chelsea, we've been hovering around the panic button for a while. It was like, what happens with Champions League? Oh, they win.
We're like right there.
No. This might be the weekend. But for Liverpool, they're still trying to figure out how to fit the pieces in that they've brought in over the summer. This is a group that has brought in huge players, Florian Wirtz being the biggest one. And our UCL coverage of Jamie Carragher talked so much about how this is a team that needs to not start Florian Wirtz. But when you think about how this group has brought in different players, when you have a team that has so many new faces, why does it take so long to get them into the mix and on the same page?
Yeah, I mean, look, 4 starters for me coming into it, that's quite a big shift. Normally maybe 2 or 3 tweaks. 4 is a lot, so that takes time. And then for me, I've played with plenty internationals that have come into the league in England, and it does take time. And Stina Blackstenius always rings to mind when I think of that. You know, top player, superstar in the game now, but came from the Swedish league, and it's different tacticals. You're used to way more space. All of a sudden, WSL, you're playing against a low block. But credit to her, that, kept working and built herself up to one of the best in the WSL and Champions League. So I think it's a big call saying someone needs to be dropped, but I understand football's fickle game, and there's no. He's had a fair few games now, though. I think it's 7, if I'm right, coming in and no goals, 1 assist. So is it time for a change? Maybe we'll see it at the weekend.
Tom, this transfer number for Florian Wirtz, high. He's not producing.
Absolutely, and with the quality of depth and the quality of options at Liverpool and at Chelsea, at any team that is vying for top 4, top 5 in England, there are going to be other options. So him being dropped from the lineup, I think that should be happening. It gives him space to kind of reset. Maybe he comes in the second half as a sub when the game states are a little bit different, a little bit more favorable to him, and even just to protect him a little bit. We won't be talking if they lose or draw against Chelsea and he starts. That's going to be the storyline immediately, whether, why is he playing if he's not playing well? There are other options. He's being a little deferential in this attack, which I understand. If you're a new player coming into a team, you come into a champions, they need to be building it a little bit more around him or letting him be more comfortable to be you. That's why you got signed for so much money. That's why there were so many clubs who wanted to sign you. Just go be you.
I think you can see it. I think now you can see the doubt start to creep in with those kind of players, that if they don't get that early goal when you're at a new club to kind of win over the fans, win over us talking about it, it's a really difficult place to be in.
Yeah, it's tough as well because Florian Wirtz has displaced and changed the system for Liverpool. Liverpool played a 4-3-3. Gravenberch sitting right in front of that back four, and they look way more open because they've changed the system to more of a 4-2-3-1, where Gravenberch gets forward more, but there's not really that cover in front of the back four. Florian Wirtz hasn't fully settled into it. And then you've got a Dominic Szoboszlai who's been displaced. There's that EA ratings video where they drop the EAFC ratings. Szoboszlai sitting behind Wirtz when he gets his 89. Was on the 83. You can kind of see a little bit of, you sure you deserve that one, bro?
The shade being thrown.
Yeah.
Well, we're all talking about Florian Wirtz and this storyline, but you guys each picked your own. So, Tom, what is your biggest storyline heading into this Chelsea-Liverpool match?
For all the talk about Florian Wirtz and a big money signing not quite hitting the ground yet, for me, this has more to do with Alexander Isak. Will Alexander Isak arrive? This is a huge match against Chelsea. There's so much history between these two teams. He comes off of not training with Newcastle as he was fighting to get this move to Liverpool. He gets it. He's getting back to fitness. He's getting back to form while learning new teammates, while coming into a team that's a little bit disjointed. And this is a spot for Isak to remind, hey, this is why I'm the British transfer record. This is why you spent so much time trying to get me from Newcastle. This is why even in a team that had Ugo Ekitike started strong, like the one signing who hit the ground running, well, guess what? We wanted Alexander Isak because you are world class. You are the difference in a couple different trophies. And against Chelsea, what a spot this would be.
Creating a chance, an assist, and a goal. What is going to be enough for you for Isak?
Goal. I like his build-up play. I like his link-up play. I like that he can give an assist, but we spent a lot of money. You spent a lot of money on that player. This dude is in here to score goals, and this is a big game for him to do that.
I'm not worried about Alexander Isak. He spent all offseason being isolated, trying to figure out if he was gonna leave, he was gonna stay. He had no preseason with this Liverpool. You see, he's gassed after 10 minutes. He makes 2 runs. He's like, when he gets to full fitness, he'll be completely fine. I don't have worries about Isak. I have worries as an Arsenal supporter for Isak, but I don't have worries about him as a player.
Clarifying it.
yeah. Sorry, last one.
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay, so then what's your storyline if you're not worried about this?
My storyline is Liverpool's rest defense against Chelsea's counter. This Liverpool, I just talked about it a little bit. They have changed their system. They no longer play with a straight 4-3-3, 3 in midfield with one sitting right in front of the back four. Gravenberch did an incredible job last year cleaning up attacks, recycling the play, and now the system has been shifted. He's sitting beside McAllister. He's got freedom to go forward, but there isn't really that protection in front of the back four. And Liverpool are so attacking that both of their fullbacks fly up, and it leaves their center backs very, very isolated. Konate and Van Dijk, they have to cover wide spaces. They have to cover in front of them. And when they are in possession, that's when they're most vulnerable, when they are in rest defense, because they don't keep a lot of players back, and they're so positive. Chelsea's front three can get at them. That will be the key for them. Joao Pedro, whoever it's going to be, if it's Gittins, if it's Garnacho, if it's Esteval, and then Neto probably on the other side, they have the pace, the technique, and the ability to get in behind. That will be the key for them.
For Liverpool, you're worried about their rest defense when they have possession. It's because they don't really have a lot of structure defensively when they have the ball.
100%.
You're worried about the rest defense because it doesn't really.
There isn't really rest.
It's not really there.
Yeah.
Jen, what are you looking at in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about Liverpool's forwards and Isak, whether he'll show up at the weekend. If they do, Chelsea's backline have a problem for me. I think they've got big injuries. Tosin, Wesley Fofana. Also, Chalobah, he's suspended going into this weekend, and he's been one of Arsenal's Chelsea's one of best players this season. So for me, as a former defender, one of the biggest things when you're coming up against best strikers is consistency, structure, shape, cohesion. If you're looking at a backline that's going to be changed a lot, could be a big issue for a Liverpool side that have got something to prove. Off the back of 2 ties, you're going to have forwards that are going to come after it. This team conceded a lot of goals already. So injuries, red cards in the back line, a lot of changes could be problems for Chelsea.
With all those changes, it does make for different starting lineups. So let's take a look at what Liverpool is projected to do in their starting lineup, because we've talked a lot about whether it's Isak or who is it going to be in the midfield. We really haven't talked a lot about Mo Salah, Tom.
No.
This is a player that has not hit his peak. He hasn't even met his average at this point. What do we need to see out of him in this match?
Hopefully some more familiarity. So again, like Aaron was saying, it has been more shifted to a box midfield with Wirtz to try to get the best out of a lot of these players. And that puts Salah in. Does he have to provide the width? He doesn't get to play quite like an inside forward. The wingers aren't giving verticality and giving more room for that midfield. And so it's been a little bit awkward for Salah. I think that we're going to see a 4-3-3 with Gravenberch holding. McAllister will be more of an 8. Like Szoboszlai will be more of a 10, but he'll play like an 8. So this puts Gakpo into that channel. Salah, as he is world class at being in that channel. So this should be a moment for him to break through. And again, with Chelsea, they're going to sit deep. We know they are, and I don't blame them given the injuries that they have as well and the liabilities they have in their defense. But for Salah to get closer to Isak, that gets the best out of Frimpong, just bombing forward, rather than when you have that box and the 2 wide players aren't giving it a lot. You have to send a left back. You have to send your right back. And Gravenberch is getting a little bit further forward, and now you're worried about counters. So I think this will give the team more control that we were used to seeing under Arne Slot last season, and I think that should get the best out of Salah, even though it's sacrificing creativity in the middle to give Salah and Gakpo and the wingbacks their time to shine.
And no Florian Wirtz in this projected
I agree. And again, like it's on merit. And this isn't a sign that this was a bad signing. This isn't a sign he isn't going to work out. Liverpool need to use their entire squad. They're going to be playing essentially midweeks every week for most of the season between the league, cup competitions, and the Champions League. There's going to be changes. There's going to be rotation. This is modern football. This isn't about your first 11. This isn't about your first 11 plus 3 subs. You need an 18-man squad, more like 22, to get the best out of everybody in this team.
Well, Chelsea's dealing with those same problems as well. If you think about João Pedro and his attacking presence in this matchup against Liverpool, who has to support him?
It's got to be this front 3. Buonanotte is the one in there right now. Neto, Estevao. Like I said, especially on the counter, this Chelsea team have to be on it because Liverpool will have most of the ball. Chelsea will be sitting back for long periods of this game. These 2 have to have a massive match. There is so much pressure on these 2 coming in together and haven't really had a lot of time as a center back pairing. Cucurella is going to have a tough time up against Salah. Reece James, he's going to have a tough time up against Gakpo. But this front 3 is going to, the front 4 really, but Neto, Buonanotte, Estevao, whoever that 3 is, they will have to provide Pedro with the chances and really be efficient on the break.
Be that first touch forward, being really progressive in what Chelsea wants to do. That's how they're going to hurt them. So we get to see this matchup this weekend, but now we get to give our predictions, Jen. I have to know. What's your score prediction in this one?
I think based on Liverpool's past 2 performances and how hungry they will be to keep that top of the table spot, and Chelsea's problem in the back line, I'm going Liverpool 2-0.
Oh, a shutout win.
Yeah, shutout.
Tom, are you happy with that?
I would be happy with anything that ends with 3 points there on the red side. But for me, I think that there's going to be goals in this game. I do not trust the rest defense. I do not trust Konate to not have a mistake. I still think Liverpool will take 3 points, but whether it's 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, Chelsea has a goal in this game at least. And if they take the most of their transition opportunities, if they take the most of when Liverpool are vulnerable, they can absolutely and honestly easily win this game. But I'm still going with Liverpool because they're due for a better performance. I'm also going with Liverpool. I think 3-1. That they will concede a goal, I believe, but they just score so many goals. I think they're going to be hungry to get back on track. They'll pull out the 3 points.